Welcome back, football fans. Today, we revisit a story that's as much about loyalty as it is about football. Picture this. Under the blazing stadium lights, Argentina is walking onto the pitch. The anthem fades, the crowd roars, and all eyes naturally find Lionel Messi, the magician, the captain, the hope of a nation. But just one step behind him, almost hidden in plain sight, is a figure whose presence means Messi will not walk alone. Rodrigo de Paul, midfield warrior, relentless runner, and to some, the unofficial bodyguard of the greatest player alive. From the moment the match begins, the camera doesn't have to find him. You can feel him, always within a few strides of Messi, scanning the field, glancing at opponents, reading the rhythm of the game like a soldier tracking a convoy. It's subtle, almost unnoticeable until you start watching for it. That's when you see the pattern. De Paul's positioning isn't just tactical, it's protective. A shoulder nudge here, a step into the passing lane there, a quick sprint to shield Messi from a late challenge. And on this night, that protective instinct was tested again. The opposition had a plan. Rattle Messi, hit him early, disrupt his flow. You could see it in the way defenders closed in, the little extra shove after the ball was gone. But for every attempt, there was De Paul, closing space, absorbing contact, even exchanging words when things crossed the line. To some, it looked like overcommitment. To those who know the history between these two, it was simply Rodrigo de Paul doing what he's done for years, standing guard. And as the first half unfolded, you couldn't help but feel the tension rising, because this wasn't the first time de Paul had stepped into the role, and it wasn't going to be the last. Before the nickname Messi's Bodyguard made headlines, Rodrigo de Paul was already known as one of the most tireless midfield engines in the game. Built on grit, stamina, and the ability to cover every blade of grass, his style earned him the trust of coaches and the respect of teammates, without the hype or spotlight. He understood that the most important jobs on the pitch aren't always the most glamorous. When Lionel Scaloni began reshaping Argentina's squad, De Paul wasn't brought in to be a star. He was the glue, linking defense to attack, winning the ball, distributing it, and keeping the tempo steady. But as Messi grew older, so did the need for someone to ensure he could do what he does best without constant harassment. In today's game, playmakers are targeted physically to disrupt their rhythm. For Messi, that risk was constant. For De Paul, it became personal. Gradually, fans and analysts noticed the pattern, how De Paul's heat map often mirrored Messi's, how he intercepted runs before they reached his captain, how he took on challenges that weren't his just to protect number 10. It was an unspoken pact. Messi would create the magic. De Paul would make sure he had the space to do it. This transformation, from workhorse to shadow, didn't happen overnight. It grew out of shared battles, finals decided by a single moment, and matches where Argentina's dreams hung by a thread. In those moments, De Paul became more than a midfielder. He became a shield. But how did this bond truly begin? The answer lies in a time when trust was still being built. When De Paul first joined the Argentina squad under Scaloni, the team was searching for identity. Messi carried the weight of repeated heartbreak in international finals, and the pressure was suffocating. De Paul arrived without global star power, but with something more valuable: relentless commitment. In training, he pressed harder, tracked longer, sprinted faster. Messi noticed, not just the effort, but the intent. Their first true test came in a heated Copa America fixture. The opposition wasn't just playing hard, they were playing rough. Messi was taking hit after hit, some late enough to draw gasps. Cameras caught De Paul stepping in, not just to win the ball, but to put himself between Messi and his aggressors. It wasn't planned, it was instinct. In football, small acts build trust faster than words. A blocked tackle, a shoulder bump against a reckless opponent, a glare that says, if you come through him, you come through me first. By the end of that tournament, their chemistry was undeniable. From that point on, their relationship became one of Argentina's most underrated weapons, protector and playmaker. But it wasn't until one tournament, with the whole world watching, that the Bodyguard narrative truly exploded. That moment came in Copa America 2021. Messi was on fire, scoring, assisting, leading like a man possessed. But the real story wasn't just his brilliance, It was the invisible shield around him. From the opening match of Copa America 2021, the cameras began catching subtle but telling moments. An opponent would step in late on Messi, and before the referee could even react, De Paul was already there. Arms out, words sharp, making sure the challenge didn't go unanswered. When Messi went down from a rough tackle, it was De Paul who'd pull him up with one hand while keeping his eyes locked on the offender. The turning point came in the semi-final against Colombia, a match thick with tension, fouls, and mind games. Colombia's plan was obvious: break Messi's rhythm. They tried again and again, but each time De Paul was in their faces, cutting off passing lanes to prevent double teams, nudging opponents off balance before they could reach Messi, and even planting himself as a human shield during set pieces. Fans on social media began sharing clips, dubbing him Messi's Bodyguard, the Shield, La Muralla, the Wall. Analysts debated whether his actions were tactical genius or overprotective instinct. But for Messi, it was simple. It was trust in motion. When Argentina finally lifted the Copa America trophy, ending nearly 3 decades of heartbreak, Messi praised his teammates. He didn't call De Paul a bodyguard, but the look they exchanged during celebrations said enough. This was loyalty in its purest form, having someone fight the battles you couldn't. And this wasn't a one-off role. De Paul carried that same protective instinct into every match thereafter. The fiercest battles weren't always for possession, they were to keep Argentina's leader safe. For Argentina, Messi isn't just a player, he's a national symbol. Every tournament he plays could be his last. Every knock or late tackle carries the weight of a nation's hopes. By the time the 2022 FIFA World Cup arrived, the pressure was suffocating. Argentina's campaign began with the shock loss to Saudi Arabia, a wake-up call that left no margin for error. From that moment, opponents knew that stopping Messi was the key to stopping Argentina. That's when De Paul's role shifted from important to essential. In every match, he wasn't just tracking midfielders, he was scanning for danger before it even reached Messi. Against high-intensity sides like the Netherlands and Croatia, his positioning was precise. He'd slide across passing lanes just before defenders closed in, intercept balls on their way to Messi, or absorb the foul himself to keep number 10 untouched. Off the ball, the pattern was unmistakable. Whenever Messi drifted into space, De Paul hovered 2 or 3 meters away, close enough to shield, block, or distract. And when a crunching tackle inevitably came, his reaction was instant. A step in, a sharp word, a clear warning that touching Messi came with consequences. Fans noticed Argentina's attack flowed better with De Paul nearby, not just because of passing options, but because Messi could play with freedom, knowing someone had his back. It wasn't only tactical, it was psychological warfare. And then came the quarter-final against the Netherlands, a game that would test this loyalty to its limit. From the opening whistle, the match felt less like football and more like a battlefield. Tempers ran high, tackles flew in, and every time Messi touched the ball, an orange shirt was there. Sometimes 2, sometimes 3. The Dutch strategy was brutal. Frustrate him, knock him off rhythm, sever Argentina's attacking lifeline, but they hadn't counted on Rodrigo De Paul. From the opening minutes, De Paul was alert, scanning for any sign of aggression toward Messi. The first time a Dutch defender clattered into Messi after a pass, De Paul was instantly there, not just to confront the player, but to make a statement. Messi is off limits. The cameras caught the intensity in his face, a mix of defiance and warning. As the match grew nastier, with late tackles and verbal exchanges escalating, De Paul's presence became even more critical. He began shadowing Messi even more closely, anticipating where the ball would go and where the pressure would come from. He'd step into passing lanes, intercept runs, and even hold possession a fraction longer just to absorb the inevitable foul himself, keeping Messi untouched. One of the most defining moments came late in the second half when a heavy challenge left Messi on the ground. The stadium erupted, the Dutch players crowded the referee, and De Paul was the first to kneel beside Messi, then stand and push opponents back, creating a buffer zone. It wasn't about theatrics, it was about sending a message that Argentina's captain wasn't alone. That match ended in penalties, with Argentina prevailing in one of the most intense World Cup knockouts in recent memory. But for those who watch closely, the victory wasn't just about goals and saves, it was about the silent battles won by players like De Paul. In the chaos of that night, he didn't just protect Messi physically, he kept him mentally free to focus on what mattered most, winning. And when the semi-final against Croatia arrived, De Paul's bodyguard role would once again prove to be more than just a narrative. It would be a tactical weapon. By the time Argentina reached the semi-finals, the Messi's bodyguard label was everywhere. Social media memes, sports talk shows, even international headlines. Some praised it as an act of loyalty and tactical brilliance, while others dismissed it as unnecessary, even suggesting De Paul's protective instincts took him away from his primary duties in midfield. Critics argued that football wasn't about personal security, that Messi, as the greatest player in the world, didn't need someone shadowing him like a presidential detail. They questioned whether De Paul's physical interventions were over the top, pointing to moments where he confronted opponents before the referee even blew the whistle. But those who understood the psychology of the game knew better. Protecting a star player in high-stakes matches isn't just about stopping fouls. It's about sending a constant, invisible signal. If you want to get to him, you go through me first. That mental barrier can make opponents think twice before making a risky challenge. Inside the Argentina camp, there was no debate. Messi and De Paul's bond wasn't born out of PR. It was built on shared battles, respect, and the knowledge that in knockout football, one reckless challenge could change the course of a tournament. Messi himself never publicly asked for a protector, but his body language during matches told the story. When De Paul was near, Messi played freer. He took more risks. He looked lighter. The debate raged outside, but inside the mission was clear. Keep Messi safe. Keep Messi dangerous. And in the World Cup final, De Paul's role would take on an entirely new dimension, not just as a protector, but as a relentless force driving Argentina toward history. Because in that last, defining match, the stakes were no longer just about winning, it was about sealing a legacy. And De Paul wasn't going to let anyone touch it. Sometimes in football, the most powerful exchanges happen without a single word. Between Messi and De Paul, those moments are everywhere. Quick glances after a foul, subtle nods before a play, even the faintest of smirks in the middle of chaos. They're not just gestures, they're confirmations of an unspoken pact. In the World Cup final against France, that connection was on full display. The game was a storm. Kylian Mbappe's speed, France's physical midfield, the relentless pressure of knowing one slip could cost you everything. Every time Messi touched the ball, two French players closed in. And every time, like clockwork, De Paul was there, hovering just close enough to intervene, just far enough to avoid pulling defenders onto Messi. At one point in the first half, Messi took a shove off the ball. The referee missed it, the crowd gasped, but before anyone could react, De Paul was already there, not confronting aggressively, but making his presence unmistakable. As Messi got up, he caught De Paul's eye, and there it was, a small, almost imperceptible nod. It wasn't gratitude in words, it was a signal. I see you. I trust you. That silent acknowledgement carried deeper meaning. Messi has played with hundreds of teammates across decades. Many respected him, many admired him, but few understood that part of their job was to guard the space around him as fiercely as they guarded the ball. And in those high-pressure minutes of the final, that trust allowed Messi to stay focused on creating moments of genius, knowing that when things got rough, he had more than just a teammate nearby. He had a watchful presence. By the end of the match, as Argentina celebrated, Messi and De Paul embraced in a way that wasn't just about lifting a trophy. It was about shared battles for on and off the ball, and the understanding that this partnership had become as much a part of Argentina's success as any goal or assist. But what De Paul protects isn't just Messi, it's something bigger, something that stretches far beyond the pitch. Rodrigo De Paul's role as Messi's bodyguard isn't just about shielding the best player in the world from late tackles, it's about protecting a living piece of Argentina's identity. Messi isn't merely a footballer to his country, He's the symbol of a generation, the heir to Maradona, and the embodiment of a dream that stretches from dusty street pitches to the world's grandest stages. For millions of Argentines, every moment Messi steps onto the field is personal. It's their story, their pride, their proof that genius can come from humble beginnings. And with that comes a collective fear. Fear of seeing him fouled out of a big match, fear of another heartbreak, fear of losing their captain before he can finish what he started. De Paul has become the answer to that fear. In him, fans see a reflection of themselves, not the superstar scoring the goals, but the one doing the dirty work, taking the hits, making the sacrifices so the magic can happen. In Argentina, this is more than football, it's a cultural statement. You protect what's precious, even if it means stepping into danger yourself. Every time De Paul steps in between Messi and an opponent, it resonates beyond the stadium. It's seen in homes, in bars, on street corners where fans gather around radios and TV screens. It's as if he's saying, Messi belongs to all of us, and I won't let anyone harm him. And perhaps that's why his bodyguard persona has been embraced so warmly back home. It's not about glorifying aggression, it's about loyalty, about carrying a responsibility that goes beyond tactics or contracts. De Paul isn't just guarding a teammate, he's guarding a national treasure. But as much as this role has defined him, the latest chapter proved that De Paul's protective instinct isn't a side story. It's a central part of Argentina's modern football legacy. And when he did it again recently, the world was reminded that some bonds don't fade, they only grow stronger. It happened again. Different match, different stakes, but the same familiar sight. Lionel Messi carrying the weight of the game on his shoulders, and Rodrigo de Paul just a few steps behind, eyes scanning for trouble. This time, the cameras were ready, broadcasters zoomed in, commentators chuckled knowingly, and social media exploded with the familiar refrain, Messi's bodyguard is back at it. The setting was an intense international fixture, one where the opposition knew that stopping Messi was their best chance of victory. From the first whistle, they pressed high, they pressed hard, and they pressed Messi most of all. Every touch he took seemed to come with a bump, a nudge, or a swipe at his ankles. But each time, De Paul closed the gap, blocking runs, shepherding aggressive markers away, and making it crystal clear that Messi was not an easy target. There was one moment in particular that reignited the legend. After a rough challenge that sent Messi to the ground, an opposing midfielder lingered a moment too long. Before Messi had even risen, De Paul was in his face, not shoving, not swinging, but standing tall, a wall of defiance. The message was the same as it had been in Copa America, in the World Cup, in every battle they'd fought together. You don't touch him without going through me. This wasn't just nostalgia, it was proof that De Paul's role is no fluke, no one-off storyline. It's become part of Argentina's DNA. His presence gives Messi the freedom to focus on artistry, knowing that the gritty, physical, and psychological battles are being fought for him. And for Argentina's fans, seeing it again wasn't just comforting, it was galvanizing. In a world where loyalty in football can be fleeting, where players change clubs and allegiances overnight, De Paul's commitment to Messi has become a rare constant. It's a reminder that in the biggest games, with the brightest lights and the highest stakes, there's still room for something as simple and as powerful as having your teammates back. What it means for Argentina is clear. As long as Rodrigo de Paul is on the pitch with Lionel Messi, no opponent will ever face him alone. And as long as that bond exists, Argentina will always have more than just their captain. They'll have a shield. In the grand story of football, legends are often defined by goals, trophies, and highlight reels. But sometimes, the truest legends are written in the shadows, by those who protect the ones we celebrate. Rodrigo de Paul's unwavering role as Messi's bodyguard has become one of those rare, unshakable narratives. From the heated nights of Copa America to the glory of the World Cup final, and now again in the latest international clashes, De Paul has proven that loyalty in football can be as valuable as talent. His presence has allowed Messi to be Messi, to create, to inspire, to carry Argentina without being crushed by the relentless physicality of the modern game. It's easy to think of this as just a quirky subplot in Argentina's success, But to those who've watched closely, it's far more than that. It's a pact built in sweat and trust, an understanding forged under the pressure of knockout football, and a statement to the world: you protect what matters most. In the years to come, fans may forget some of the scorelines. They may forget the names of certain opponents, but they will remember this: how one player made it his mission to guard the greatest of all time. How in the biggest moments, when the stakes were highest, Messi never stood alone. And that's the beauty of this story. It isn't just about football, it's about loyalty, sacrifice, and the unspoken bonds that turn teammates into brothers. So now the question is, will Rodrigo de Paul go down in history as the greatest teammate Messi ever had? Or is his role something even bigger, a blueprint for what it means to fight for someone else's greatness? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you believe this story deserves to be heard, share it with every football fan you know. Because legends may score the goals, but sometimes it's the shield that makes those goals possible.